Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Zmore the Dad in DPS, and we are back with another video. Now, this is another one in reference to the Xbox Bethesda showcase that we had the other night in regards to Starfield. And if you don't know what Starfield is, well, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get on with it. So, what is Starfield? Essentially, Starfield is a new IP coming out of Bethesda Studios, the same studio that brought us Fallout and that has brought us The Elder Scrolls. Now, the game is following a similar kind of vein of that action RPG, except with the twist of being in space, a la, No Man's Sky, Mass Effect, Dead Space, that kind of thing. It's the first of its kind for Bethesda, not so much for other game companies, so it will be interesting to see how well it goes. So, let's discuss the universe that Starfield is set in. Pretty much, it is our universe, albeit in a more futuristic setting, as our own solar system does in fact show up in the actual gameplay trailer, which is relatively interesting. Now, the first comparison I'd make about this game is to No Man's Sky. Now, if you don't know No Man's Sky, it's a massive spacefaring game where worlds and universes and solar systems are all procedurally generated, which creates a massive amount of content and things that are ever evolving, ever expanding. Starfield has an advantage over a game like No Man's Sky. When something is procedurally generated, it requires a lot of random occurrences and things to just happen. And with that, things are kind of made up like Lego bricks in a sense. They're not as detailed, they're not as specific. And as a result, things aren't as polished when you look at them under a fine kind of magnifying glass. However, with Starfield, each of the worlds that Bethesda has created, there is a limit to them. There is a very specific number of them, and they have spent time on each. Now, as much as you could say Bethesda has problems with X, Y, or Z, which we can go into later, one of the things they are very, very good at is fine detail. And this is something that has astounded me on the information that they gave us about how many worlds and how many systems that they have. Over 100 systems, over 1,000 worlds. Bethesda loves fine detail. And when you look at the, obviously, gameplay that they're showing us, so far this game looks to be one of the most visually stunning things I have ever seen in gaming. Genuinely, I am breathtaking. My breath has been taken away by how visually stunning and complex the environments look. This is obviously early thoughts on it. We're not playing the game yet. We've not seen any 15 minutes of gameplay, an hour of gameplay. We're just seeing snippets of what Bethesda wants us to see. So we're pretty much seeing the best of what they've got at the moment. But if the level of quality that has been put into the environments is the same as they put into all their other games, I think we're into a very stunning visual experience, and I am genuinely in awe of what they've managed to achieve. And if they've managed to achieve the quality with all 1,000+ worlds or planets or moons or whatever, Jesus Christ, we are in for some sort of amazing experience. Now, obviously, graphics aren't everything. Gameplay and different things are a big factor in there. But with a game that is visually stunning this, you cannot expect a good character creator. And Bethesda is, to an extent, delivering. Now, it is obviously not a finished product because we still have potentially at least a year, if not more, until Starfield is released. And they do have a robust character creator. I do have some thoughts about it, how the textures look a little bit plasticky at the moment. The hairstyles do also look a little bit like spray painted on, but that's just my opinion. At the same time though, there does look to be a lot of customization options, which will open it up to people putting themselves into the game and allowing themselves to tell their own stories and create their own content, which is more than a welcome thing for everybody and anybody when it comes to a game like this. Now, when creating your character, you're going to have starting classes. The first one that we see in the video is the chef, which has the starting skills of gastronomy, which allows you to create specialty food and research additional recipes at the research lab, gives you melee weapons 10% more damage, and you get a boost to 30%. Well, 30 points of health with wellness. On top of that, we have the combat medic, which gives you pistol certification, 10% more damage with pistols, medicine, your med packs heal 10% more, and weightlifting, which gives you a 10 kilogram carrying capacity boost. Then we have the cyber runner, which has pistol certification again, security, which allows you to hack advanced locks, and 2 attempts can be banked. Persuasion, which gains an increased chance of success in speech challenges. Cyberneticist, which gives you medicine again, medpacks heal 10% more. Robotics, which allows you to deal 10% more damage to robots and turrets. Lasers, which gives you 10% more damage with laser weapon. And Diplomat, which allows you to get better persuasion with persuasion. Your diplomacy perk means you can force a target NPC at or below your level to stop fighting for a while. And bargaining, where you can buy items for 5% less and sell for 10% more. Now, with these perks, you can already see the workings of the system that we see in Fallout and Elder Scrolls. We aren't going to get anything, I think, amazingly different from what we're usually used to. No doubt there will be some things, but we all know what these kind of perks are going to be like. And this falls into a more deeper customization system within the game. So for example, each one of these perks that I've already listed off, you attain levels, you get perks, and then you can level these perks up to a maximum level. And the more you use these, and the more challenges you complete, the more of these perks you'll unlock, and the more powerful they'll be. So there is a lot of customization, a lot of kind of different ways you can go. There's different skill trees. There's a physical, social, combat, science, and tech, and we don't really know fully what each one of these is going to do yet. So we can't say for certain which trees you get locked into, if you even get locked into them. There's really not enough information about it specifically on how you unlock these things. But there is at least 5 different skill trees of some sort to explore and figure out. Now, after customizing ourselves, we are also able to customize our environment. That's right, base building is back in Starfield, with a twist. Unlike its predecessors of Skyrim, Fallout 4 and 76, we are going for a more modular design in terms of how you construct your bases. Now, the good thing about this is it's going to make the building mechanics a little bit more easy to understand, I feel. One of the biggest problems I had with Fallout 76 is to build certain things, you had to go down the route of creating glitches and just basically exploiting game mechanics in order to get it to work properly. Here, it looks like it's more streamlined. They've thought about it a bit more, and they've created something a bit similar to, again, No Man's Sky. Looking at some of the little sliders and little buttons on the screen, there are variants to each type of structure. Now, the real question comes, can you customize things like color, or is there any customizability to it, like putting logos on and other things? We don't know that for certain yet. I would say probably almost definitely. But obviously that's not confirmed yet. We can't really say for certain. So the extent of the building will need to be discovered later on. But at the same time, I'm quite enthusiastic about it and eager to see how it progresses and what we are able to do in the game and what it requires. Base building is something that is a very, very, very predominant thing in gaming these days. And I'll be honest, I absolutely love it. But at the same time, I love it to be easily accessible to people and not have to, do very tedious and unnecessary ways of getting things to work. Hopefully they've learned a lesson. They allow us to put junk everywhere and just drop things wherever we want. But we'll see what happens when it comes to that. Now, in the video, Todd Howard boasted that the game has a robust crafting system. Now this goes down the route of being able to craft weaponry, equipment, things for your outpost, food, drink, and pharmacology, which I assume means medicine in this case. This is going to open up a lot of different things that we can do, and looking at the little screens and things like that, there is projects that you can assign and research and learn new things. I assume this is going to be tied to your bases, potentially tied to the NPC recruiting system, who will basically man your little bases when you're not at them. So that means that you could hire potentially scientists that are going to research armor or weapons, and you might have to hire specific scientists to research specific things. So it opens up a whole new kind of idea of who do you want to prioritize. Do you want to get somebody that works as like a quartermaster for your equipment or your weapons, or do you want like a chemist in order to create better and more, you know, advanced medicines? There's loads of different things here, and some of these things could also be tied into the main quest of the game. There's no guarantee that isn't. Crafting systems are obviously something that I'm incredibly enthusiastic about, because it opens up to a lot of different things and a lot of discovery. Now, the last part of the trailer that we're going to discuss is the ship and spacefaring aspect of it. So far, Bethesda has showed us that you can, at least on the outside, customize your ship fully. And this has a lot of different ramifications with your ship, essentially. It can change things like its mass, its power settings, its health, the jump range of it, the amount of crew you can have, the cargo it can hold, your shields, your hull integrity, your mobility, your top speed, your mass. Loads of different factors here that help you create a different ship. One would also assume the type of weapons it's holding. So this is a pretty nifty, cool thing. It's something that they did in Kingdom Hearts with a gummy ship, and everybody loved that to death. I don't think a single person is going to dislike this. The one part it is unclear about, however, is how this affects the customization of inside the ship. Are the parts that you add to the ship modules that have specific furniture and specific things inside them, or are you able to move around the inside of the ship just as you would the outside? So that's something that does remain to be seen. Something that remains to be seen about the base building aspect of it as well. And it might be that it's not fully fleshed out yet, and they haven't really got to grips with exactly what they want, and maybe it looks a little bit buggy when they're doing it, so they didn't want us to see it yet. It's hard to say, but it is a fully customizable ship. And a note I would add, you can change the colour, but there will be a lot of penis ships in the galaxy, I'm almost certain of that. So yeah, the ship building aspect is absolutely fantastic. I really think it's a great addition and a good and wise move by Bethesda. Now, when it comes to obviously that, you are also able to fly your ship. Again, we kind of assume that would be the case, but thank God it's not like in Mass Effect with the Normandy, where you go here to there without flying. We are going to be able to fly our ship. It's going to be a very entertaining experience, and from playing No Man's Sky, it is a fun thing just flying through space and shooting at rocks. It is going to be amazing. Now, on top of the spacefaring aspect, there are, as I said, I believe earlier in the video, there is at least 100 systems. They did say over 100 systems. How much over? I'm not really sure. No numbers have been given yet. And with that, there comes 1,000. They did say 1,000 things to interact with. Whether they're planets or not, I'm really not sure. God knows, there could only be like, let's say, 200 planets, but 400 moons. So it's hard to get an idea of the real scope of it. If you just think 1,000 different things to interact with in space is a lot of things, a lot of exploration, and a lot of cool time spent traveling through a galaxy that is not unlike our own. Now, what we're going to find in the galaxy is anybody's guess at this moment. The gameplay trailer tells us that we are to find pieces of this ancient relic that gave us visions, and we're to reassemble it and create whatever it was for whatever reason. There's not really much detail outside of that. But obviously, this thing is of alien origin, which implies there will be aliens in the game. We haven't seen anything outside of alien creatures that are trying to kill us, but I'd assume there's going to be aliens and different factions, different people to interact with. And if you've got over 1,000 places to go, how many different factions will there be to interact with? How many people or random settlements are we going to find? What are we going to find in the Starfield universe? It leaves a lot to the imagination, and I'm excited. I genuinely am excited, but we'll go more into my opinions over the whole of the game so far, what we've seen. So, my general thoughts on the thing as a whole. It's ambitious. It is really ambitious. 1,000 interactable objects in space that, in theory, are fully rendered planets, moons, space stations, and God knows what else, asteroids. There's so many different things you could have out there. It's ambitious. And Bethesda is a game company that is very good with fine detail, which opens it to being one of the most stunning and detailed games to ever have existed. However, Bethesda is also known as Bugfesda, one of the game companies that quality control isn't always the best. And my worry is that we are going to find entire planets of bugs. And I don't mean that in the sense of, the Rachni or, Starship Troopers. I mean full planets of, I've just fell through my spaceship and I'm floating around in space. I'm worried in a sense that Bethesda has not garnered good attention in the past couple of years in regards to some of their projects, namely Fallout 76. But at the same time, they have dedicated a lot of attention to this, and a lot of different people have been working on it. And while we have had a couple of rumours thrown about here and there, it's hard to distinguish whether they are just disgruntled ex-employees or if there is something genuinely wrong with the game. However, with the scope of the game, I think some of the rumours are potentially more true than not, in regards to them maybe having to cut things in order to finish the game on time. But again, that will remain to be seen. On top of that, there are a couple of things that, having discussions with people, seem to be missing. Now, if you're exploring a massive planet or planetoid, you're not going to be able to walk the whole way around. So there's a distinct absence of ground vehicles or planet-side vehicles. Now, this obviously might be the case of they're in an early stage and they don't want to show them because it just didn't look impressive or looked buggy, and they're just working on polishing them. But the absence of them is slightly worrying, because that might mean that, yeah, I have this whole planet to explore, but I can't be bothered walking from, Australia to Africa. Like, the sheer distance is just not fun to do. There is also the factor of, if planet travelling is done poorly, we can end up with another situation of Mass Effect 1's Mako. While the first couple of planets were entertaining and fun to travel around in a tank and shoot at things, it got a bit monotonous, boring, and, to be honest, annoying, because the Mako didn't do what you wanted it to do. That is very much a grudge from a previous game, but there is some foundation to that. If you make an environment too big with not a lot in it, it can be a bit mundane. So there is a little bit of a worry in that aspect. However, again, with things like that, it's something that we don't really know about yet. It's something we've not seen, and it's something we really can't say anything. It's just a thought in my head that we don't have any of that, therefore there could be issues with it. But one of the big factors that is in my mind is the modders, the modding community. Now, if you've never used mods for games like Skyrim or, well, any Bethesda game really, the modding community, as far as I'm concerned, is the heart and soul of any Bethesda game that has ever been released, with the exception of Fallout 76, because it is an online game. The people that create mods are some of the smartest, hard-working people. When there's a bug that Bethesda can't seem to fix, they just Thanos it out of existence and fix it no problem. They will be able to do so much with this new frontier of gaming. And it's actually bringing tears to my eyes thinking of all the mods that these people are going to create. They are going to create an entire universe of stuff. There's going to be so much that they can do with this, and it genuinely gives me so much optimism for this game of what could be done. If Bethesda doesn't get it right, I'm certain our modding communities will put everything where it needs to be, because they always have done. They always have done. And I think overall this is going to be an absolute blast to explore with people. An absolute blast. And obviously I'm saying explore with people. I don't know if there's going to be any multiplayer in this. A little bit of my hopes it is, and I know a lot of you out there will be thinking, no, we don't want multiplayer. And that's fine. But this is going to be a stunning game, and despite the flaws of Bethesda Studios, and there is going to be a ton of bugs, let's be honest. There is definitely going to be a ton of bugs. I'm very optimistic, and I hope you guys are too. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time in outer space. That was today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, there are several means. You can click that coffee button to donate to me directly. There's also our Teespring for the merch that you can see on screen right now, as well as our YouTube member button and the new Super Thanks button. So if you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit any of them. Now, on the note of our members, let's thank them.